Picture yourself standing at the edge of a sun-baked Malagasy village in the late 1800s. The air is thick with the scent of burning palm fronds and the distant hum of insects. Suddenly, the ground trembles not from an earthquake, but from the pounding of hundreds of bare feet. Villagers, young and old, have gathered in the central clearing, their faces painted, their eyes wide with a wild, unblinking intensity. A drumbeat rises, relentless and hypnotic, and as if pulled by invisible strings, bodies begin to sway, then convulse, then erupt into ecstatic, unstoppable dance. Picture the scene: elders chanting incantations, the air thick with the smoke of burning herbs, the taste of fermented honey on the tongue, the sharp sting of drum beats vibrating through the chest. The afflicted would enter trance states, their voices shifting, their mannerisms changing, as if inhabited by another presence entirely. Some spoke in the voices of long-dead kings, others issued cryptic prophecies or demanded offerings. The spectacle was communal. No one was immune. The boundaries between participant and observer blurred until the entire village seemed caught in the same fever dream. This is not a festival. It is a possession. The trance has begun. Yet the mania would spread, leaping from person to person, house to house, till it seemed the entire community was possessed, to touch something greater than oneself, even at the risk of losing control. The dancing was not just a symptom of crisis, but a ritual of connection, a way to make sense of suffering, to find meaning in chaos, and to reaffirm the bonds that held the community together. The trance was both escape and embrace, a surrender to forces that were at once terrifying and profoundly familiar.
Outsiders searched for explanations: mass hysteria, ergot poisoning, psychological contagion, but none could fully account for the depth of belief, the intensity of experience, or the sheer endurance of those swept up in the trance.
This is the world of tromba, the spirit possession cults that swept across 19th century Madagascar with a force that defied explanation. Entire villages could be seized by the mania, caught in a feverish cycle of movement and song that lasted not hours, but days. But for the Malagasy, the meaning ran far deeper. This was not mere delirium, but communion. In such a world, the power of the ancestors became both shield and sword. The tromba trance was a way to reclaim agency, to assert that the spirits of the land and lineage still held sway, even as foreign powers tried to impose their own order. The dancing mania was not just a symptom of distress, it was a declaration of survival. The dancers were believed to be vessels for the tromba, ancestral spirits who returned to the living world to offer guidance, healing, or warning. The trance was both a burden and a blessing, a moment when the boundaries between the living and the dead dissolved, and the wisdom of generations flowed through trembling hands and stamping feet. The afflicted danced until exhaustion, some collapsing only to rise again, their limbs jerking in time with the ancestral rhythms. The contradiction is immediate and electrifying. A society rooted in tradition and order, suddenly overtaken by chaos, its people surrendering their bodies and wills to forces they believed were not their own. 2. Outside observers, colonial administrators, missionaries, European travelers. The spectacle was both terrifying and mesmerizing. They saw madness, hysteria, perhaps even rebellion. Imagine the psychological landscape of a people living under the shadow of colonial rule, their traditions threatened, their identities questioned. The rituals themselves were elaborate and deeply sensory. The physical toll was immense. Dancers would collapse from exhaustion, their bodies slick with sweat, their feet raw and bleeding. Here in the heart of Madagascar, the tromba mania reveals a paradox at the core of the human experience: the longing to transcend the limits of flesh and fear. The fever of the tromba trance did not simply erupt and fade, wove itself into the very rhythms of Malagasy life, shaping identities and social bonds in ways both subtle and spectacular. Imagine the aftermath of a possession: the village square littered with wilted garlands and overturned vessels, the scent of sweat and burnt offerings lingering in the humid air. It is a terrifying ordeal, moments of blackness, memories blurred by the drum's relentless call. Yet it is also a moment of transcendence, a chance to escape the burdens of daily life, to let go of pain or grief, to feel oneself part of an unbroken chain stretching back through generations. Picture the entire village drawn into the spectacle, elders chanting, children mimicking the dancers, women weaving garlands, men tending fires. Outsiders may watch in awe, but for the Malagasy, participation is a duty, a way to honor the ancestors and maintain the balance of the world. The boundaries between self and other, living and dead, blur until the whole community seems to move as one. The mania can last for days, with dancers collapsing from exhaustion, only to rise again when the drumbeat resumes. The physical toll is immense: feet raw and bleeding, voices hoarse from chanting, bodies racked by dehydration and fatigue. Yet the mania spreads, leaping from person to person, house to house, until it seems the entire village is possessed. The trance is a form of healing, not just for the individual, but for the community as a whole. The relentless nature of the trance can push bodies to the brink, dancers collapsing, children swept up in the frenzy, elders forced to intervene when the mania threatens to spiral out of control. The communal nature of the possession means that fear can spread as quickly as ecstasy. Whispers of curses, jealous ancestors, or malevolent spirits sometimes accompany the outbreaks, fueling cycles of suspicion and tension within the village. Families may quarrel over the meaning of a spirit's message, or accuse rivals of invoking harmful forces. The spirits that arrive through the dancers bring guidance, solve disputes, and offer reassurance in times of uncertainty. Missionaries condemn the rituals as pagan superstition, while administrators worry about the potential for unrest. The trance is not just a personal ordeal, but a communal negotiation between past and present. Spirit and flesh, tradition and change. In the aftermath of each episode, the village emerges altered. Wounds tended, disputes settled, the invisible bonds of kinship and memory renewed. The mania leaves scars, but also strength, a testament to the enduring power of belief in the ways in which a society can find meaning, even in the most bewildering of experiences. Some try to suppress the cults, banning gatherings or punishing those who participate. Yet the mania proves remarkably resilient, adapting to new pressures and finding ways to persist even in the face of official disapproval. The trance becomes a form of subtle resistance, a way for the Malagasy to maintain their traditions, assert their autonomy, and push back against the encroachment of foreign rule. They may chide the lazy, warn of drought, or bless a new marriage. Every message, every gesture, is scrutinized for meaning. Bodies lie sprawled in exhaustion, some still trembling, others quietly tending to the afflicted. The possessed are honored, consulted, sometimes even feared. Families seek out those touched by the spirits for advice or blessings, treating them as intermediaries between the living and the dead. The cults develop their own hierarchies and codes, with certain lineages or villages claiming special connections to powerful ancestors. Rituals grow increasingly elaborate: offerings of food and drink, ritual baths, the careful preparation of sacred spaces with woven mats and sacred stones. Every detail reinforces the sense that the trance is not mere madness, but a vital thread in the fabric of Malagasy society. Yet beneath the surface calm, something fundamental has shifted. The dancers, once ordinary men and women, now bear the aura of the sacred. They have become living conduits for the ancestors, their every word and gesture imbued with new weight and meaning. For the possessed, the psychological transformation is profound. To lose oneself in the dance is to surrender identity, to be spoken through by voices not your own. The systematic nature of the tromba cults becomes clear in the rituals that follow each episode of mania. The trance is not a solitary ordeal, but a communal drama. Yet the mania is not without its darker side. For colonial observers, the tromba phenomenon is a source of deep anxiety. At its core, the dancing mania is a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and resilience of an entire people. As the echoes of drumbeats fade and the dust settles over the village, the legacy of the tromba trance lingers, woven into daily rituals, whispered stories, and the very identity of Madagascar itself. The aftermath is not just exhaustion, but transformation. The tromba cults offered a way to process trauma, negotiate authority, and resist the cultural erasure threatened by colonial rule. Others blended with Christian practices, creating new syncretic forms that allowed the cults to survive in a changing world. The mania, once feared as a threat to order, became a symbol of cultural endurance, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming change, the spirit of a people cannot be easily silenced. The urge to transcend the ordinary, to seek connection with something greater, remains as powerful as ever. In a world that often prizes rationality and control, the memory of the tromba mania is a challenge. Reminder that surrender can be a form of strength, and that the wild ecstatic dance of the past still pulses. Beneath the surface of the present, young people may leave for the cities, but many return for the great communal rituals, drawn back by the magnetic pull of ancestry and belonging. And a celebration of the ways in which communities can transform suffering into solidarity, fear into faith, and chaos into meaning. The trance that once possessed a nation has become a symbol of endurance, a reminder that the human spirit, when united by tradition and belief, can withstand even the most bewildering storms. The drums are quieter, perhaps, but the heartbeat of the past still thrums in the background, reminding all who listen that the line between the everyday and the extraordinary is thinner than we think. Spirit possession became a language for expressing grief, hope, and descent away for the powerless to reclaim agency, if only for a moment, by channeling the voices of revered ancestors. It is a testament to the enduring human need for meaning, belonging, and transcendence. The ancestors are never far away. Their voices echo in the laughter of children, the wisdom of elders, the rhythm of feet on packed earth. The trance is past, but its power endures a living legacy, a dance that will never truly end. The trance that once possessed a nation reveals the depths of resilience and creativity that people summon in the face of fear and uncertainty. It shows how the boundaries between body and spirit, self and community, past and present, can dissolve in the heat of collective experience. Some describe visions of ancestors offering comfort or warning. Others remembered the sense of unity, of being part of something vast and ancient, a lineage that could not be erased by time or conquest. The trance was a way to make sense of suffering, to transform fear into collective action, to turn chaos into meaning. The trance was both a shield and a weapon. It protected tradition from foreign influence and, at times, challenged the social order by elevating new leaders or exposing hidden conflicts. Those who have danced in the grip of the spirits carry with them a new status, sometimes revered, sometimes feared. The community, too, is changed. The shared ordeal has reinforced bonds, healed old wounds, and, in some cases, created new tensions. The mania is not merely a spectacle of the past, it becomes a living memory, a thread that ties each generation to those who came before. The historical irony is striking. What outsiders dismissed as mass hysteria or primitive superstition was, for the Malagasy, a sophisticated system of meaning-making and resilience. As colonial pressures intensified, the tromba mania adapted. Some rituals moved underground, hidden from the eyes of missionaries and administrators. The psychological resonance of these rituals persists. For those who experience trance, the memory could be both haunting and empowering. Modern parallels are impossible to ignore. Today, the language of trance and possession continues to shape Malagasy identity, surfacing in music, dance, and communal celebrations. The story of Madagascar's dancing mania is not just a tale of chaos or crisis. As the sun rises over the village and daily life resumes, the memory of the mania lingers in every drumbeat, every whispered prayer, every shared meal. Even now, as the world grows more connected and modernity sweeps across Madagascar, the echoes of tromba refuse to fade. In the end, the tromba mania stands as both a warning and a celebration, a warning of the power of collective emotion to sweep away the boundaries of self.